Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. Today we're going to start a new series. My goal for this series is going to be 2,500 science packs per minute. It's going to be a grid design. I'm going to be using large trains and trying out some new concepts. And we'll get into some of the details once we get going. But for now, let me start by showing you the mods that I'm going to be using. I started a map with those mods just because it's easier to see the list here than it is through my mod screen, because I've got a ton of mods that are not active right now. So I'm using Afraid of the Dark to help us see better, Aircraft to move around the base, Auto Deconstruct picks up mining drills after they're mined out, Closest First is for construction bots, Max Rate Calculator, QoL Temp Stations. I won't discuss the purpose of all of these. Probably most of these you're familiar with. Squeak Through. Tiny Start is going to give us some bots from the beginning, just to help us accelerate through the earlier game a little bit quicker. I've got To-Do List, Vehicle Snap, Auto Research, Even Distribution. I'm using a mod called Ore Eraser, so that if there are ore patches that don't that haven't aligned themselves to my grid, then we can remove them. I'm using RSO, which controls the generation of the ore patches, because I feel like this does a better job than the vanilla game still. So I'm going to use that this time. And then I'm using, well, Train Pub Sub. This is Train Supply Manager for the trains. I haven't used that one yet, so at least not in any serious way, so this will be interesting. Now, let me go through the map options as well. So actually, I'll start a new game. I've got the exchange string from the map I already created. I'll start with that. That'll put all of the settings in so you can see the map settings that I'm using. So I set richness at maximum for everything, and then the size of the patches I've put at 300% for iron and copper. I think I'm actually going to go back to 100% for stone and coal, and uranium and crude. Those are all the same. Maybe I should go bigger for crude. Yeah, let's do 150% for the crude size, and then maximum richness, because one thing I don't like is, especially once you get a big base running, is the constant setting up and tearing down of mining outposts. So having super high richness will help with that. The other thing that I may do once we get the big base running is I might use creative mode to create my own ore patches that I can set to an extremely high richness. You can basically get it so that you can cover 25 million ore with a single mining drill if you max it out. So I might do that later in the game just to remove the tedium of doing that, but we'll see how it goes with these RSO generated patches. Okay, I've turned cliffs off because I don't like dealing with them. And then water coverage I've reduced in size to 25%. That essentially reduces the size of the water features that you get on the map. I need some water, obviously, but because I'm making a grid, I don't want there to be a lot of large bodies of water that I have to fill in. So 25% will still give me some water scattered around, and if I have to use trains to move water, I'm more than happy to do that. Okay, enemies. My initial plan was to turn biters off completely. But one thing that bothers me about that is I wanted to turn them off because I really don't like the combat and building defensive walls and all that stuff. Okay, that's not the part of the game that I really like. So I thought about turning them off, but then I also don't like having all this military research, which I'm always tempted just to do, just so it gets out of the way. and then not do anything with it. So I thought in this game, what I'll do is I'll leave enemies turned on. I will put them on peaceful mode so they won't attack us unless we attack them first. And then I'm going to turn off expansion so that once I kill them, they don't come back. All right. So this way there still will be biter bases around. We'll really only have to deal with them if we need the room that they're occupying. But they'll still be there. Later in the game, I might turn them off. We'll see. Of course, yeah. You know, I'm just thinking now with 2,500 science packs, having no biters and having no pollution either. Because you really need pollution if you're going to have biters. But not having pollution will make the game run better. I'll just leave it. We'll do it this way. Okay, and then for technology, I set the research queue to being always available. I like to always have it. I don't want to wait until I launch a rocket. Normal recipes, everything else is pretty much standard. Okay, so we can preview that map. This is what the starting map looks like. Now, when you use RSO, you can't see the patches on the map, on the preview, unfortunately. But this is, you know, you can see some water here and there, but there's just a lot of land. We can actually try a couple different seeds, I guess. Let's see if we get one that I like better than that. Otherwise, I'll just go back to the map that I already made. This one looks kind of nice. I do like the green terrain more than the desert terrain. There are a lot of trees, though. We could always turn trees down. Turn the trees down to 50%. I kind of like that. We can turn size down too. That'll give us more smaller clumps rather than fewer bigger ones. No, I think I like it the way it was before. Let's do this one. Let's see how it is once we get in there. And we'll check out the ore patches. Okay, let's turn that off. So we've got 5.1 million iron, 2.3 copper. We got a little bit of oil, a little bit of stone, a little bit of coal. There's some more stone up there. So these are pretty dense patches, obviously. This looks all right. I think we can do this. And then we'll build out this way. Okay. So let's start by getting some coal. Okay, now with the Tiny Start mod, there's a mode called a Marathon Start, which gives you not only a few bots to use at the beginning, but it also gives you some starting equipment like mining drills, steam engines, and your first 10 science packs. So again, this is just kind of to accelerate us more quickly through the early game, so that we don't have to spend a lot of time with burner drills and stuff like that, and we can ramp up pretty quickly and get into the more interesting stuff. I think this is the first series where I think I've used Tiny Start in a YouTube series before, but I don't think I've used that option before with the starting equipment. So, you know, the advantage of this is that we can start generating power right away. This, I think, where do I want to put the power? Maybe I put it over here. That'll get it close to the coal. Right, so rather than starting off by making burner drills and iron plates, I'm instead going to start by producing electricity right away. Okay, so we'll do one underground, and then I'll put my 3 boilers, and I've got 6 steam engines. I prefer the style where we place a short pipe in between every pair, and that allows us to get the power poles in between like that. Okay, and then we can put in our lab, load it with 10 science packs, and we can, oh, I've actually got 2 labs. Forgot about that. So let's take half of those and put those in the other lab. We'll throw some of the wood in there, and we'll get some research going right away. Now I have the auto research mod going already. I'm going to turn it off for now. I don't want to use it yet. At the beginning, I want to control which tech I get first. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it this way. Okay. Now, my inspiration from this series came from a guy that I saw on Reddit. I believe his name is Alexi. His username is AlexiJ. It's OLIKSIJ. And he made a 5,000 science per minute base using grids. And he did this, what I thought was a really interesting design concept that he called parallel factories, where, you know, his trains are set up so that he's got, let's see, that's 4. So he's got 8 cargo wagons on each train, for example. So when a train comes in, let's say let's say we're doing mining. Train would come in. We've got 8 cars. Each of those cars, okay, there's 8. Each car would go to a separate column of furnaces, and then the plates would come out of those, and then each one of those would go into a separate train car on the output side, right? So he didn't do any belt balancers or anything like that. So each of these columns of furnaces, in this example, would take the output from one car, and all of its output would go into a single car on the plate train. And by doing that, he completely limited the use of belt balancers and a lot of other stuff, because the design of the factory itself is totally balanced. And I thought that was really interesting. So I'm going to try to do that in this series. Okay, so we got automation done, but I really can't do anything until I have some copper, right? So let's work on, I guess we should work on getting more copper and iron now instead of chatting. So I saw his base. There's another YouTuber called JD Plays who did a base tour of it. This was probably, I don't know, the Reddit post where Alexi describes his base is about 10 months old. Where are my mining drills? Here we go. Let me do... No. Here, what I want to do to get this started. Let me make a couple of wooden chests. Yeah, so the Reddit post where he described his base is about 10 months old, I would say. And I saw it recently, and I just thought it was really cool. And I thought I would like to try to do something a lot like that. I'm going to try not to duplicate what he did exactly, but I am going to use a lot of the same design ideas, because I like to try it for myself and see how I like doing that. Okay, so I think I'll do a similar setup over here for copper, and we'll get a few plates made. And in the Reddit post, I'll put a link for the Reddit post in the description. And he included a copy of the save game. So I went into the save game, and I also grabbed his rail blueprints. So I'm going to be using his train grid design as well, which I like. It's a lot more compact than the train grid that I designed myself. So I'm going to give his a try. Okay, let's see. So we can get some coal going. I think let's start off with, let's put 8 drills on coal. And that way we can start automating our electrical fuel requirements. There we go. Do I want to go up here and feed it from the north or feed from the bottom? Let's see how big this is going to be. No, actually I need to copy that. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 20. Okay. Yeah, I think I will go in from the top. And I'm going to eliminate all this now. I don't really want to blueprint it yet. What I've got here now will keep us going for quite a while. Okay. And I think I'm going to use normal inserters for my steam power. Okay, let's make this nice and neat. So the other thing that I'm planning to do that's a little bit different than what I've done in previous series is I'm going to try to start expanding the train network as soon as possible. You know, rather than building up a starter base that goes all the way up to, you know, all 6 science packs, I would rather start building up the rest of the base much earlier. And I think that'll help avoid the late game blues that we get where, you know, where we've got we're done with the starter base and then it takes forever to be able to make anything else, because once the starter base is done, you can't really do anything until you can make all 6 science packs again. And that makes it kind of, it makes it so you have kind of a long journey before anything really interesting happens. So this way, hopefully we'll be building bigger earlier in the game, and I hope that'll make things more interesting. All right, let's get some coal fed in over here. There. Okay, so I'm going to let me get his blueprint book. Here it is. I'll put that in my inventory. And the reason I want that now is because I want to start placing the first grid sections right away, because I want to try to fit my starter base all within a single grid cell if possible. Now, my previous bases used a grid section that was 6 power poles by 6 power poles. And his are 8 by 8. And as you can see, if you zoom all the way out, you can't see the whole thing. So there's a console command that we can use. So if you press the tilde key, and you type /c game.player.zoom equals 0.1. It'll ask you to confirm it the first time because it'll disable achievements. I already have all the achievements, so I don't care about that. So I have to enter it again. And then that allows you to zoom out very, very far, as you can see. All right. So what I'm thinking is I'll have one grid with all of my starting ore patches, and then I'll put the second grid next to it, and that second grid is where I will build my starter base. Okay, so let's drop that there. And I could either, I always like going left to right. I wonder if it might be actually better for me to go north in this case. No, there's another ore patch in the way. Okay, yeah, let's go. We'll go to the east. All right, so I'm going to build my my starter base over here, and the our starting ore patches will be over here. So we won't use any more than 2 grid sections to get started. All right. Now, once you zoom back in, you can still only zoom out to what the normal maximum level is. So every time you need to go to zoom out like that, you have to do that a second time. Okay, so I think we should start setting up some more mining over here. Actually, let's make yeah, you know what, let's make a couple factories so we can keep the science going. I'll grab some more copper plate, and we'll get a quick little setup going for that. And I'll actually make 2 more of those so that I can start crafting gears and stuff. All right, so we'll set up a little science production thing over here. So that's gears. We put a chest there. That's red science. And then in here we put iron and copper. And then we can we'll put a lab there and another one there. Right, and that's a fairly efficient way to get started. And then over here, I'll do one machine making gears and another one making copper cables to speed up our handcrafting. Now, Alexi's base he made with creative mode, so he didn't have to go through all of this. He just started doing interesting stuff right at the beginning. Okay. So let me turn all that off. All right, so what have I got? I've got 15 mining drills, 16 mining drills. Okay, so I'll just start with 8 copper and 8 iron. And like I said, we're going to make, at this point in the game, we're going to make something fairly small. I won't make anything past blue science packs in the starter base. That's my promise to you. And I'm only going to do the blue science packs that I need to get enough of the rail stuff researched and some beginning bots. As far as robots go, my plan for this base is to not make extensive use of bots. I'll use some personal construction robots, obviously. I always do that, and I'll probably do some logistics bots in the starter base just to feed me from the mall. But aside from that, I'm not going to use bots to build anything in the Megabase. And that'll be a considerable change for me as well, because usually I make extensive use of bots when I'm building a large base. Okay, you know, I don't have to be a great guy all the time and start at the edge. Okay. Okay, and I think I'd rather take power from the top of that column. There we go. There we go. All right. So we'll build that. And actually, I'm going to start doing some iron smelting right here because I need a lot of iron. Logistics is almost done, so I can almost make splitters. In the meantime, I'll just do this. Okay. Okay. And now I can make a splitter, and I can make a couple of underground belts so that I can feed coal over to this automatically. Let's put those on my tool belt. There we go. No, actually, let's do... There we go. That's better. Okay. And now I can get a lot of iron plates so that I can craft more belts because I don't have enough to get me all the way over here where I want it to be. All right. So, let's see, 1, 2, and then 1. Now, when I've done a starter base like this before in some private games. When I say like this, I mean where I just go up through blue science more or less. And I found that pretty much, you know, just having one full iron smelting line, 1 copper and 1 steel seemed to provide enough resources to get the job done. Let's go grab some more gears, and I'll also put some of this copper in there. There we go. So we can continue to get some copper. Okay. And then once I get this belt over here, I'll send the ore over and we can start to automate the smelting. Okay. Need more of those. Okay. So that's where we're going to get all this done. I'm tempted to start a line here. Okay, well I can make a lot more belts. All right, so now I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to move it. Okay, and I'll go ahead and leave that coal on the belt. It's not a problem for me right now. And I'm going to pick all of this up. I suppose I could use the bots to do that, but because there is coal inside, it might actually be slower. Okay, well, that's not too bad. Okay, so let's drag some power over. That worked out well. Now let's see. Yeah, I think I'll just, here, let's do this. Let me zoom out again. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the center of the grid right there, where this power pole is, just above me. So maybe what we can do is I'll have my iron line go here, and I'll have my copper line go here. Like that. All right, so let's get another splitter. The output belt will be there. And then I'll set up my usual smelting design. Okay, that's half a line. I'm going to craft a couple more mining drills so I can start collecting some stone. There we go. 2-to-1 iron to copper for that. All right, so we'll have that so that we can start making more furnaces. Okay. 1, 2. This needs to be much bigger, of course. But this will give us more iron to start with. Huh. I used up all my power poles already. This is one of the best things about bots, is the ability to pick up trees easily. Okay. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I think it'll be better if I go up this way. There we go. All right, let me pick up that coal. I'll feed those by hand for now. I'll give these guys some iron ore and some fuel to get started. All right, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We need to double that, but not the poles. All right, so put the poles in myself. And while we wait for the rest of these belts to craft, I'll go and pick up the stone that I need for more furnaces. Now, as you all know, since a couple months ago, I stopped making daily Let's Play videos, just because I didn't find myself having the time that I needed to do that as well as I wanted to. So now I'm putting out episodes 2-3 times a week, more or less. And that'll continue as I work on this series. And because most of you have seen me do a lot of this early game stuff before, my plan right now is to do some of the work off camera, and then the next time I record an episode, I'll explain what it is that I did and why, and so you won't necessarily. So everything will be explained, but I'm not necessarily going to show every single step that I take in building this base. Because at a rate of 2 to 3 episodes a week, this is going to be a big base. It could end up taking us months to get everything done if I'm working at that pace. So that's the reason why I'm expecting to do some off-camera work. I've also been contemplating doing some streaming. Again, not necessarily on a regular schedule, but the thought there would be that maybe I can stream some of the off-camera work. And if I do that, it would be, there would just be a lot of impromptu streams. So, it wouldn't be something where I would say, on such and such a day at such and such a time, I'm going to be streaming this. It would just be like, well, I have an hour or two right now, so I turn on the stream and start playing. That's kind of what that would look like. So, let me know your thoughts on that. If you think that would be interesting to watch or not. And if it is, then I'll set something up, and it might just be in my Discord, that I do these streams where I'm just working on the base in my free time. All right, I'm getting almost to the point where I can feed the coal in. Come on. No, I don't like that at all. Whoops. This is for the coal. There we go. All right. So now we can Now we can finally get some proper iron smelting done, and then I can start to automate the production of gears and belts, which I will set up right now. And then once I get my green science set up, I'll shift the production of belts to wherever it is that I decide to do that. All right, so I'll make 4 more of these machines. I'm going to need a bunch of inserters as well. When I'm handcrafting inserters, at least at this stage of the game, I'll usually just do them one at a time. That way I start getting them faster without having to wait for a complete batch of 5 to finish. Yeah, let's do it like this. All right, so these gears are just for the consumption of gears. And then this is for the belts. I think we can do that. There. Oh, that's a bummer. There we go. All right, so I'll limit those to 2 slots each, and I'll do the same over here as well. And actually, let's get some more inserters on those inputs. Also there. At least until we get fast inserters. So in that case, let me move this. There we go. That's better. Okay, that'll speed things up quite a bit. It was too short. Okay. All right, there's our first biter base that we'll have to destroy. Science has stopped. I'm going to go and pick up that stuff and we'll move it over here. Now I want to get copper going. Let me get at least half a line of copper going as soon as possible so that I can start to craft some green circuits, because waiting for those green circuits to handcraft themselves is kind of painful. All right, so I'll copy, let's copy all of that business. Okay, we'll do another splitter. And while that's working, I'll go over here and pick up my assembly machines that I've got over there. We're still doing okay on power with what we've got here. All right, so I'll pick all this up. Okay, almost there. go. Now let me get rid of all this copper ore. I should have picked up more stone because I'm missing one furnace. Okay, well, this will at least get us a little bit of copper going. Okay, and then we can automate some circuits. And we can automate science production again. No, that doesn't help, does it? Okay, let's do this. All right, and this is very temporary. This is not the starter base science setup. Okay. And then let's do this. Over here, we'll start making some green circuits. And then once I have that, the handcrafting will get much, much easier. Right, we'll need a long inserter to pick up that iron plate. Okay. You know what, actually, where I need the extra inserters is on this side. And I can't, oh, I can do fast inserters. Awesome. There, we'll put a fast one there. And that should keep this running nonstop. All right, let's grab those. There, yeah, now the handcrafting is much, much better. All right, grab some gears, grab some circuits, and then we can start crafting, you know, 5 at a time without having to wait for a terribly long time. So I'm going to start updating these. On those, I think I only need one fast. One fast. There I need 2 fast. There I need 2 fast. How are we doing here? Great. Okay. And now I'll go get some stone. I'll build more furnaces. I'll start crafting a lot more of these yellow inserters. I'm going to craft more mining drills, and I'm going to, well, like I said, I'm going to set up, we'll have one line of iron plate, one line of copper plate. I'm going to have one line of steel. And once I get all that, I'll be able to make rails and everything else that I need to get going. And we'll set up blue and green science packs and so forth. So I'll work on that a bit offline. I'll try not to do too much because I want to make this interesting for you. Ooh, I've got lots of stone. That's great. I probably don't need so much because my plan is not to craft insane quantities of stone furnaces, but I guess I'll just make as many as I can with what I got now. So I'll be working on that offline, and then in the next episode, that'll be, it won't be completely done, but it'll be, well, maybe it will be completely done. I'll get a lot of it done. And then we'll review it next time, and then we can, start working on the planning of the large portions of the base, getting our grids laid out, getting ready for trains, and all that other interesting stuff. So thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.